Welcome to Rhinestones and Rants. I am your host, Alyssa Better, and today, buckle up because this is not your average episode and not your average intro. And that is because today's guest is literally dance royalty. He needs zero introduction, but we're going to be dramatic anyways because honestly, why not? Brian Friedman isn't just a choreographer, he is a movement. From his iconic work with artists like Britney Spears, Beyoncé, Cher, Mariah Carey, Prince, NSYNC, and Justin Bieber, and that's only a few, to his explosive performances on So You Think You Could Dance, and of course the MTV VMAs. His nomination awards include, are you ready for this? 4 MTV VMA nods, 2 music video production awards, 5 American Choreography Awards, and Industry Voice Awards, and World of Dance recognition. I mean, seriously, wow. Brian has redefined what's possible in the world of dance. Brian's influence extends beyond the stage. He is a mentor, a creative director, a passionate advocate for the next generation of dancers. Currently, Brian is bringing his expertise and definitely spiciness to Radix Dance Convention. And if you know, you know. He's not just in the game, he's reinventing the rule book. He moves like he's 15. He inspires like a master. This episode is the still slaying blueprint of the one, the only Brian Friedman. So if you're a dancer, a parent, a studio owner, or just someone obsessed with brilliance, this is definitely your moment. So smash that like button, share the love, and make sure to subscribe because you do not want to miss what's coming next. So let's sashay into it. Welcome to Rhinestones and Rants, where the glitz of the dance world meets the real talk of industry and a dance mom who lived it every day. This podcast isn't just about perfect pirouettes and dazzling costumes. It's about the raw, unfiltered journey of raising dancers, navigating the competitive scene, and balancing the chaos of life beyond the studio. So grab your coffee or wine, adjust that messy bun, and join me and special guests for a little bit of rhinestone-covered realness. Click that like button below, subscribe, and let's get into it. So, Brian, welcome to Rhinestones and Rants. I am so utterly excited to have you. When I was thinking about this episode and I was getting ready, I was thinking about there are thousands of dancers that come from all over the world just to be able to dance with you. And then more importantly, possibly get called out in one of your classes. And then I was thinking, how special do I feel right now that I get to actually spend the next 60 minutes with the one and only Brian? But more importantly, how many people can say that they get to call you out because you're in my seat now, so I get to call you out?
Doesn't happen that often.
I know, so I'm feeling really special right now. So anyway, welcome.
Thank you.
I think when we think about dancers and we think about dance owners and parents of dancers, there really aren't that many people who haven't heard the name Brian Friedman. But there will be people that are listening to this podcast, and I know it's impossible to believe, people that don't know Brian Friedman. So I thought best that we can start with maybe you just introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about Brian. I'm sure people want to hear about baby Brian and how baby Brian became the Brian, and how dance and your passion just started.
I mean, that is literally opening Pandora's box for a very long story because it's been a long journey. But I am very aware that not everyone knows me because we live in such a niche world, and because of reality television, I was definitely welcomed into some homes for a period of time, but it's been a minute since I've been there. So yeah, there are.
Wait, which reality show? Which
I mean,
tell me.
if we rewind back, I think that's when normal people, as I refer to them, anyone who is not a dancer, they are the muggles, the normal people of the world.
It depends who you ask, but yes, go on.
They started to get familiar with dancers, I think, because of the MTV generation. And that was when I started making appearances on TV. And we can rewind and go to my childhood, but that is sort of where becoming a household name was for me. And the people who were alive in that generation, we're going back to the early 2000s, and there were shows called making the video, which would follow all of these videos that were being on MTV. And I was on a lot of making the videos. And then there was a show called Becoming
I
where they
actually
would,
remember that show. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
they would
crazy.
take a fan of an artist and they would turn them into that artist and they would film the video frame for frame. And I did a lot of those I did Becoming Britney Spears, I did Becoming NSYNC, I did Becoming Destiny's Child. So I was on TV for that and I started getting noticed then. And then a show came along called So You Think You Can Dance,
Just
which
that show.
I
Yeah.
was a judge and choreographer on for many years. And that was sort of the start of me doing reality television, which for me was a career segue. I started in front of the camera as a judge, and I ended up working on all different reality shows as a creative director and then producer. And it took my career in a completely different path, but it put me behind the camera again. So yeah, people that are younger may not necessarily know me unless they've got a dance friend or unless they're
Or when they Google,
a
I mean,
fan
you can
of
Google
a
and find
certain
out.
artist, or unless they're following me on social media. But there are so many celebs in so many different genres of arts and crafts and entertainment. You know, you have people who play volleyball who are huge that I wouldn't know. So yeah, I believe there is zero ego in my world, in my game. To our dance crowd, I'm a big deal, but in the grand scheme, which has helped me stay humble through life, is I'm just a normal person, just like everybody else out there. And these kids grow up idolizing you, but that fades away quickly, and you can't really live your life feeling like a superstar all the time
Which I think
or
is,
acting like a
I think
superstar.
it's so true though when you say, humbling, because even with this podcast, I mean, yes, we know each other. My daughter's danced with you a million times, but to connect with you and say, would you do this podcast? And with like no questions asked, we're going to give back to the dance world, and it was like, boom. Not everybody, believe it or not, is that forthcoming, and
No,
it
people suck.
sometimes they do. I hate
People
to
are
say
terrible.
it.
People are amazing and people are terrible. And there are many different kinds of people. And I talk, in the car on the way here, we
Yeah.
were talking, your footprint is everything. And I want to leave a footprint behind that is squeaky clean and that did good rather than creating and wreaking havoc and chaos.
Well, it's safe to say you were completely doing that full out to the next level. Just what I was going to ask you, like, what do you think like your secret sauce? It really sounds like a lot of passion, but what would you say for people to have a lucrative career in this business? What is that secret sauce? And granted, I believe it's probably different for everybody. Yours seemed to be a much easier path. Like it came to you, which I do believe in dance, that passion, you bring things to you, but it's not as easy for everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be magnetic. Everyone's great, everyone's talented, but energetically speaking, you're drawn to certain people more than others. And you can't teach that. That's not something that can be taught. You can help a dancer unlock it, but it's truly them.
It's part of you.
We're one of one, all of us. And I think it's dancers that don't, or artists in general that don't understand that get stuck in the comparison game, that really get in their own way and they end up in their head the whole time when they could really just be enjoying themselves. And that was what my secret sauce was when I was younger.
I think it's the most inclusive advice ever, because I do believe it's that it factor, but everybody has it, but you have to tap into it.
Yeah.
And that's different in every single individual. So
Yeah.
it's not a blanket statement by any means. And I think you just
Yeah.
confirmed that completely. I mean, you were very lucky, but you had it in you. When you talk about the training that you had, because you said you danced for a year and a half and then all of a sudden you took off, you had the performance value. Did your mom train you at all, or
I
did
mean, yeah, that's what I was about to pop in and say. I'm like, yeah, I had danced for a year and a half with a studio, but I had been dancing my whole life with my mom. She taught me my time steps in the kitchen. She taught me PKs down the hallway of our
okay,
house. I knew
okay.
Shanays, I knew PKs, I knew a time step. I knew how to dance, and I did theater as well. I love to do plays. So, you do your grapevine in theater and your Chenet step touch. So dancing was always something that I was good at, but I had never had to learn choreography and string choreography
And that's
together.
tapping into a whole other thing.
And it was a lot more difficult than I thought. Before I even had started dancing, my mom went to Tremaine summer event in Vegas, and I was maybe 9 at the time, and she threw me into the junior ballroom. And I had never
Love your mom. I
taken
don't even
at a
know her. I
dance
love her.
because she wanted to take. So she's like, go on.
Yeah.
This is where you'll be today, and I'm going to be over there. And I took from Doug Caldwell, and I took from Terry Lindholm, taught at that event, and Marcia Lane, and Joe Tremaine, and Tony Coppola, Jackie Slight. These were all the teachers that were on it. And that was literally my first foray in taking from any teachers on any level. And I just thought that it was some crazy joke that they were teaching all this choreography and that everyone was just picking it up so fast. It was one of those, do they know this? Like, how does everyone know this? But I got called up on stage by Doug Caldwell, and the combo was to I Feel the Earth Move. And it
Love
was
that
by
song.
Martika. And what's funny is Martika was on Kids Incorporated, the show that I ended up doing years later. And I just thought she was the coolest artist then. But that was my first time doing that. And it didn't dawn on me that I could go home and keep doing that. It was just, oh, that was fun. It was a
Right.
fun dance thing. Cut to 2 years later, dance found its way back, into my sight line. And then I found my way into it. But I didn't possess at that time everything that I needed to work at the age of 13. I don't think I would have booked a job at 11 and a half, my first, couple weeks of training. But that first year and a half, I did a lot of work.
So in
And
keeping with the show theme, like if I only knew then what I know now, and looking back, whether it's at that time or whether it's looking now, is there anything different in that pathway you would have changed?
oh, absolutely not.
Everything the
Nothing.
same.
I
Love
wouldn't
that.
change anything in my life ever. Never. No, there's some stuff. And look at, I'm censoring my language. There's some stuff that has gone down that has been the worst traumas and just things that feel like they're going to end your life and your career. And I still wouldn't change that. Those
Because
rock
I say it a
bottoms.
lot on this show, like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Oh,
And I do
yeah.
believe that all of those, knowledge is power, and all of the things your experiences are all part of the journey to get you from point A to point B, and then sometimes even point C.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that. I as much as there are things that, I might have changed, I might have
Mm.
added ballet earlier, I might have done more privates and not as many conventions, but ultimately I don't believe in changing
Yeah.
at all.
I am I don't know where I got so easygoing in this life. But I do believe that all of the bullying that I endured as a kid is what made me be so thick skinned to be able to handle this industry and how cutthroat it is. And, kids look at their idols and they look at people who have achieved so much success and think that it's just easy for them and that everything has been easy. And that's the one thing they have to realize is no one in life has it easy. Everyone has their struggles. You just don't see them. And what you see is them on the other side of their struggles when they've actually persevered and not given up and kept pushing and kept trying to reach that finish line. I always say to the kids that I teach that there is zero difference between them and the person who they idolize, except for that the person they idolize believes in themselves more.
Confidence. It's
It's
all about confidence.
literally all it is.
When we talk about, all the success that you've had, I still want to rewind because people that may not even know that, I think it's important to know where you came from and where, like, and I said before it's a joke, but baby Brian, like, your parents, like back then, I did an episode recently with Gavin Morales, your assistant's parents. And, we did an episode on how to raise a boy in the industry
Mm.
because it's really was a very, not as much anymore, but it was a very female dominated industry. And by the way, Joanne and Scott absolutely adore you because you've done such amazing things for Gavin, and they speak about that on the episode. But kind of wanted to talk about that because Gavin, when he was coming up, they didn't even have boy dressing rooms. But,
Very
you
familiar with
know,
that.
you were even behind him. So what was it like? Like you went to your parents and you said you want to dance. Like, how did that whole thing start?
Well, for me, growing up in the mid to late 1900s,
Stop it.
I mean, I started dancing in 1989. That's like to kids to hear that year, it sounds so historic. Uh, we were not riding in buggies then. But things were different. There wasn't the internet, and we were listening to records and tapes, and there wasn't
Eight
even a
tracks.
CD out. I had an 8-track
Eight
player in
track,
my car
yeah.
as a kid. So things were definitely different, and the dance landscape was unrecognizable if kids were to go back in time and look at what convention was then. There was a handful of conventions. It wasn't something that you did all the time. I remember being a little kid, I started dancing because my mother was a dancer, and I can't really say that's why I started dancing. I loved movement and I loved music and I loved pop culture. I was obsessed with Michael Jackson and Prince and Madonna and Paula Abdul
As people
and
ever.
musicals. And because my mother was a dancer, I was able to see so much more that maybe other kids didn't see. We were watching Hollywood musicals at home. I got to go and watch her dance all the time. She was a dance teacher and she taught at the college, and I would get to go and watch her college programs. And so I had a lot of access, and it put the dance bug in me and made me want to dance, but it wasn't something she pushed me into. I asked her if I could dance. That's sort of how it started. I did a talent show. I was lip syncing.
Ah.
That was my talent, was lip sync
How old
and
were you when you did
dancing
that?
around. I was 11,
Okay.
and she was judging this competition, and I enrolled in it and entered, and there were kids dancing at that competition that were my age, and I remember watching them in the audience. They did a dance to Sing Sing Sing, and they had black and white on, this little like leotard tuxedo thing, and they had bowler hats, and they had little white spats over their black jazz shoes, and I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I told her afterwards, I want to go dance with them. I want to take class there. And she knew the studio, so she took me, she put me in the class. I was hooked. It was immediate love. I felt like I figured out what I was going to do. And I hated school with a passion.
Lots of kids do. So you're not an anomaly in that one.
And, years later, I'll do a fast forward and then a jump back. I was doing some training. It was in COVID, and it was Dance Education Equity Association, and it was training in anti-racism, anti-bullying, and
Okay.
anti-othering in the dance space. And I was really nervous to go and do this training because of how bad I was in school. And I thought I was going to be terrible at it. And the way that I was taught by the people leading this, it really was a light bulb moment for me where I realized that I'm not dumb and that I wasn't a bad student. I just had bad teachers.
Yeah, teachers, and also I do believe that passion, when you find your passion. So, for example, Joelle's an actress also, and when we had her taking Spanish, they would give her 10 Spanish words to learn,
Hmm.
and it was like this, like the 10 Spanish words would drive her crazy. You give her a 20-page script,
Go back
you
there.
give her a 20-page script. The kid could memorize it literally in
Yeah.
30 minutes, back and forward, like not even a question. So when you have your passion for something and you find it, it's interesting. So when you say
Well,
teachers, yeah.
and that was the thing, is the way that it was taught to me, it was done in an artistic way because they were teaching it to artists. So they knew that they had to keep us engaged in a different way. And I just thought to myself, if I had teachers that had understood me and tried to, break through and figure out what it was, what do I have to do for this kid? That's what we do as educators. That's what I do as an educator. Every kid in the room is not going to learn the same. So you have to bend to them to get the best results out of them. So long story short, I'm not dumb. But as a kid, I thought I was.
Make sure you note that he's not dumb.
I'm not dumb.
Go on.
But as a kid, I definitely thought I was, and school was really hard for me. So finding dance was a game changer, and for me, it gave me a safe space to be. It gave me something to look forward to at the end of that terrible school day. I was also bullied really bad in school because,
Mm.
little known fact, in the 80s, it wasn't cool to be a little gay boy
No,
who danced.
no.
It was actually the opposite. We didn't have social media. We didn't see representation anywhere. So you think that you're alone and so different and you don't fit in and that there's no one
So
like you.
sad.
So I found these kids at dance who accepted me and liked me and they thought it was cool that I danced. And it's funny, you said there was a name that you said earlier, Baby Brian, and
Baby
they used
Brian.
to call me Baby B. That was my nickname at dance because I used to be a really good turner and Barishnikov was the biggest thing back then. So
Totally.
they called me Baby Barishnikov. So Baby B was my nickname dancing. But I danced at my dance studio. It was very different. We would look forward to the convention that was coming to town that would be what, once or twice a year. It was a big deal, and convention only had two ballrooms. There was junior and senior, and they would only give out one scholarship in each room.
Wow.
It was the era of work hard and don't expect to win. And if you do, it's a really big deal. And now we live in an era of entitlement. But
Very
things were much
different.
different back then. And that's how my whole career basically started. I had a friend that I danced with that was really good, and I was not great. I had lots of performance quality. And my
No, you
friend
performing, what a shocker.
my friend won a scholarship to go to LA for the summer and dance for 2 weeks at the big studio. There were two studios back then, Dupre and Tremaine were what they were
Tremaine,
called.
huh.
And she won a 2 week scholarship to Dupre. And I went with her to dance and take classes for the summer. And an agent was watching class and came up to me when I walked out and said, "Where's your mother?" And I said, "She's not here with me." And she said, "Well, here's my card. Have her call me." And we rushed back to the hotel and called my mom and told her the story. And so she called, and they ended up having me come back to have all the agents see me. And it was in a class for Marguerite Derricks, who is still a
Best.
legend and an icon. And this was
100%.
my first time stepping foot in Marguerite's class. It was a studio called Paradise that doesn't exist anymore. It was in Encino. And we came and went to the class, and they signed me. And I had an audition within a matter of weeks for a movie called Newsies,
Yes.
Disney movie called Newsies. This is in 1991. And I had been dancing a year and a half. And I went for 3 rounds. I had to sing, I had to dance, I had to act. And I ended up booking the movie and moved to LA. And funny story, the hotel I'm staying in right now is across the street from the apartments that I moved into when I first moved to LA. So
Okay,
that
full circle
that
moment right
little
there.
area, and it's next door across the street from
So how
Warner
wonder you
Brothers
like staying
backlot.
there so much, which is
It feels like home. It's nostalgic for me. And that was the start of it. I was 13 at the time, and I had my 14th birthday that summer on set while we were filming, auditioned for a TV show while I was filming that movie called Kids Incorporated, which was the biggest show of the 80s. It was a Saturday morning show on ABC. And then for its, I think, fifth or sixth season, it moved to Disney. I was on it when it was already on Disney. We came on right before Mickey Mouse Club.
my
And I
favorite
booked that
show.
show, did it for 3 years, and it just kept me in LA and it kept me out of school. I was going to school on set, which just worked so much better for me.
So much better.
And I was around like minded kids, and I was getting to go to the professional studios in LA and take classes after I'd film or on my days off. I really found the world that worked for me.
And when we talk about your success, and I have to pull my note card out because it's so freaking long that I can't even say it in one breath. But I look at this and I'm just marveled. It's like, okay, you have 4 MTV VMA nods, 2 Music Video Production Awards, 5 American Choreography Awards, an Industry Voice Award, and World of Dance recognition. You've worked with Britney Spears, Beyoncé, Gaga, Cher, and that's only a few. There's Bieber, there's all these other people. And I'm sure like it's just so deserving, by the way. But I'm sure there's so many people listening out there thinking like, how? Because there's so many talented people that, you know, this is what they're vying for. This is the epitome, and you have done so much. And it's like people want to know, like, how?
Well, and this is where the deep dive into my psyche comes into play. With you saying all of that, what I hear is I don't have an Emmy and I've never worked with Madonna.
So you have imposter syndrome.
Oh, 100%. I n- I'm never satisfied with anything. I don't really look at successes. I just look at what is not happening. I see flaws in everything.
Glass half
I
full.
only see the mistakes, but I'm also hella optimistic, which is I'm a Gemini.
So am I.
I'm twisted.
So am I.
I mean, that's what it is. There's a lot of duality with me, which I think has helped keep me grounded.
Mm.
It has helped me not go into an egocentric state. But it's also really exhausting because I'm never satisfied. And
I think that's a thing that you see with a lot of great talents. Like, even if I go back and I take a look at somebody like Cindy Crawford, she was a supermodel of the world. And I remember listening to an interview with her, and she said in the interview that she, at that time, here she was, supermodel of the world, and she really didn't even think that she was pretty. When she looked in the mirror, she did not see it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Cindy Crawford. Like, how could
right.
she not see that? So when I hear you say that, it's almost like sad to me because people look up to you and they're like, "Oh my God,
Oh,
this is
but
a
no, I'm
this is an
also
icon.
epic.
You are epic. You are an
But that's
icon."
where it's twisted because I'm a walking contradiction. Um, I have moments where I will go into the studio and choreograph something and I'll hate it. And I'll walk out and feel like, oh, I'm terrible. And then I'll go in the next day and edit it. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. This is epic. It's just,
It's viral
it
moments.
depends on what moment you're going to catch me in. But I do think that it is the thing that has saved me. It is that I am hard on myself, but I'm also able to look back and acknowledge my successes. And that is the key. You do have to go back and revisit and tell yourself and look at things and accept your badassery sometimes.
Right. No, I think that that is, you're not alone in that. I mean, even Gavin's parents were talking about how there's probably never a performance that he gets off the stage and thinks that he did good. Like,
No,
same similar
he's
thing.
also
Joelle too. She'll come off the stage. I'm like, "Oh, that's the best I ever saw you do. It was terrible," and she walks away. And it's like, I think that sometimes we're our own worst critics.
Look, I'm delusional all the time. I will finish, I'll be filmed doing something and I'll think it's terrible. I'll watch the video back and I'll be like, oh, that was actually really good. Or I'll think I killed something and I'll watch the video and I look a disaster. So
You never look like a disaster, but whatever.
it
Moving
is what
on.
it is.
So you choreograph for all of these incredible artists.
I mean, I've done a lot of different things. That's when you get to my age and you've been in different seats of the entertainment industry, whether it is dancer, I danced for a long time, dancer, choreographer, assistant, associate choreographer, creative director, producer, director, whatever it is. I've worked with a lot of those people, but it's never necessarily the same thing
Right,
for
but
them.
who was the hardest to choreograph for? Like, spill the tea.
The hardest to choreograph for?
Hmm.
Um,
And why?
hardest and most challenging, I think, are two different things. Well, no, hardest. Let me just say hardest. Paris Hilton. Paris was difficult because she's not a dancer, and she had to do a striptease
Oh,
in this movie, and I remember that being difficult because she's just not a
it's the movement,
dancer.
right?
But she's really fun. She was great to
Super
hang out with.
fun.
That was a hard one. One of the most challenging yet rewarding was for Melanie Martinez. I choreographed a film of hers called K through 12, and then I choreographed that tour as well. And she had never danced before, and she wanted to do a full musical that she danced in every song. And
Oh,
we had 8 days of rehearsal for an
and
entire film.
the end result.
Absolutely incredible. Watch
Yeah.
it. Because she was committed to it. She wrote the film, she wrote the music.
She made it happen.
It was hers. And that's where true artistry comes in. And that's when it's the most exciting to create for someone, because you're not creating for yourself. You're not creating what you would do and what feels right for you. You're having to create, what would this artist be doing? What is she trying to say with her movement, and figuring out what is her movement style? How does she move? What does she want to say? So that was the most challenging, but again, the most rewarding in hindsight, once I saw what the project ended up being.
Is there anyone in the industry right now that you think is overrated, or loaded question?
Not naming names, because that's not the world I live in. I
Nope,
don't like
not
to
looking to not.
be like
Nope,
that.
agreed.
But there are a lot of dance acts that dance that don't give it, that don't give enough for me.
They don't bring it.
That don't bring it. They're lazy. They call it in. It's just not giving. And I need more to be given. When I look back at the pop stars of my generation, not my generation that I choreographed, but my generation that I looked up to as a kid, your Michael Jacksons, your Janet Jacksons,
course.
Paula Abdul, Madonna, Prince, all of these artists,
They brought
they
it.
held you in the center of their hand. You could not look away. And it was undeniable. Tina Turner, all of these people. There's just James
greats.
Brown, Elvis. There was a certain level of performance, and those are generations before me
Similar
as
to
well.
music today as well. You know, you look at Led Zeppelin or Ozzy, or like, you know, may he rest in
And
peace.
why?
But you know, but
And they're calling in the music too. Like, what is a 2-minute and 30-second song? Where is my bridge? Where is the breakdown? Where are the ad libs? Where is my Whitney Houston of it all? If you're going to be a vocalist, why is no one singing? Why is no one singing? So that also is killing me. But yeah, they just need to give more. And even like my generation that I choreographed for and worked with, your Pinks and Beyoncés and Britneys and Maya and Usher, and that early 2000s pop, in sync, everything that was going on then, they were putting on a show, breaking their backs for these performances. And I feel like there are some artists out there that are doing that now. Like, I'm obsessed with Doechii. I'm obsessed with FKA
So
Twigs.
good.
There's a lot of good stuff going on out there. Chris Brown will always and forever be giving the most, and I appreciate that. But you're looking at your Beyoncés and your Chris Browns, and they're older now.
Of course.
They're the legend status now. But these new kids coming up, just work harder and give me more with your music. I don't want good songs. I want memorable albums that are going to last decades. One of my favorite / most annoying things that I could be asked is, what do I need to work on?
Oh, thank God I'm not asking you
Or
that
what do I
question.
need to do to get noticed? Or what do I need? Like, all of the questions. And I say favorite also because I love the bold nature of going up and asking something. I love that, because you're not going to get anything. Closed mouths don't get fed. So many of my assistants that became my assistants are because they came up to me and said, I want to assist you. What do I need to do? So I'm here for it. But so many parents, what do I need to do to get my daughter to win this thing? And my answer is always nothing. Back off. Just relax. They're exactly where they need to be. Just let them keep working. But what if they don't? Then they don't.
Right.
And what's going to happen? Nothing.
It's going to be fine.
Why is this so important? Like,
well, probably because
setting goals is great, but you didn't win. So what are we going to do? Coddle you because you didn't win? No, you didn't win.
It's not a lifesaver movement.
This is now. That not win is exactly what you needed to go, to keep you pushing forward, because you're not going to win. You're not going to win everything. Everyone cannot win everything.
It's the entitlement society. Like, you know, there were commercials about, I said before, the lifesaver moment, but there's an actual commercial that the kid had a terrible day on the baseball field and the father's like, here's a lifesaver. But, you know, in this generation, we reward people with trophies. Like, they may not have, you know, got the game ball that day, but they showed such a good effort that they get some kind of trophy for that. And we're rewarding
I would get ice cream. My studio, that I grew up at.
Chocolate or vanilla?
It was called Dance Center. For me as a child, it was strawberry.
Oh, okay.
My studio was called Dance Center, TRE, one word at the end,
Okay.
Dance Center. Um, I like to refer to it as Backyard Dance Academy because we were not great. We were just a studio that they offered something to kids to go and dance after school, and we competed. So we performed, we had a team, and we would do our best. And then we would go out for ice cream afterwards with our honorable mention ribbons because there was only a first, second, and a third, and we were not winning those. And it was good enough. It was fine. I'm sitting here almost 50 years old. I've had a career in this, and I didn't win first place. I didn't sweep at nationals. You don't have to. That's optics. That's for outside. That's for other things. That's for a shelf to show people. It means nothing.
But I think we've also, in fairness to that statement, I think that we've created a society like that. It happens at the studios. The
Yes,
studios,
it's culture.
they need to win so they can say that they're the best studio so they could attract the students. The students then, feel like, okay, if they don't win or they don't place, they're not going to be able to do their solo or they're
I
going to be
know.
put in the back of a dance. So it's almost
Studio
a
owners and
secular,
directors, that is,
it's a secular cycle, unfortunately.
it's a part of the problem, as well as the events, the dance conventions out there and dance competitions out there that are setting it up
Yeah.
so that everyone gets a piece of the pie and that everyone feels seen. And that's just not the world we live in. And you're doing those people a disservice if that's the way that it runs. And I don't think everyone should win. I don't think we should have 17 place ties for first. First is one place.
Right. And if you want to say first, second, third, I agree. But then when
Yes.
I'm watching some of these conventions and
16 people on stage for 3 places.
what he's talking about is like when people are competing and they call out the top 20 and that top 20 becomes 60 people on stage because 5 people tied for 17th. Like to me, that's not like
Which is why I love Radix right now. We do our challenge at our nationals, and your top 30 is 30. There is
That's it.
never one dancer over. Your top 15 is your 15. Your 6 is your 6, and your 3 are your 3. And that's the way it should be. And if it turns off studios, then that's a problem, and they're not there for the right reason.
agreed. So I'm going to switch it up because specifically when I hear you say glass half full moments and things like that, you've changed your style so many different times, whether it's your hairstyle, whether it's your clothing style, whether it's your dancing style, you change styles so often. Do you think that the style that you change, whether it's your hair or your clothing, does that change your choreography or your mood?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so tell me.
Oh no, if I have long hair, I'm going to be whipping it. If I have a cute little skin tight outfit on, I'm going to be giving a certain shape. If I'm in baggy clothes with a butch haircut, I'm going to be doing more hip hop movement. I definitely feel like I dress the part and then I embody whatever that look is.
I
Yeah.
love it. I mean, and I see it.
It's dress up. It's
That's why I asked
play.
you the question because I was like, all of a sudden you're like sassy and out there, hair whipping the whole thing. And then all of a sudden we show up to one of your classes and it's contemporary Brian. I'm like, wait, where did contemporary Brian come from? Like, we're here to like shake, rattle, and roll. And like all of a sudden
Expect
we're
the
like,
unexpected. That's why
yeah,
at convention, my class is called Tempo and Shapes. I don't like to put a style next to it just because I don't like to be defined by a style. I know that genres and styles are so important. That's the foundation to all of the dancing that we do. And then I believe that there are some people that you just get them. You get their art and their essence, and it's for the older people. It's for I'm not calling myself a legend, but it's for the legend status when you just walk into a room and you learn them. Like when does it change to just their name? Like we speak about Fosse
yeah,
and
right.
it's Fosse. We're not saying jazz when we talk about Fosse. We're talking about
No.
Fosse. We're talking about Ailey.
When you think of, I just think iconic. I think great. It's like when you say their
So
names.
I just want my work to be known as my name.
When these dancers are going to your class, I hear tons of dancers like, obviously all they want to do is get called out by you. Do you realize the power that you have in that room with these kids. So wow, clearly this episode was packed with energy, insight, and that signature Brian Friedman fire. And just when we thought it couldn't get any better, well, we had to hit pause because yes, this conversation was that powerful and we are breaking it into 2 parts. So now the question is, does Brian really know the power he holds in the room with these dancers? You are going to want to hear what he says next, I promise you. So tune in next Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern for part 2 of Brian Friedman Unleashed, where he will take us even deeper into what it actually takes to be called out in a Brian class. He also dishes on the best places to train, what life looks like on tour, and how dancers can truly level up after high school. I think it was loud and clear in this episode. Brian is not holding back, and believe me, you do not want to miss it. So until next week, the countdown starts now. Brian Friedman Unleashed Part 2. So keep dancing, share this episode so everyone can get a piece of Brian, and of course, keep shining.
Don't let anybody treat you like regular glue, because you're glitter glue. You sparkle, you shine. Get it, girl, get it, friend.